Sleeping Beauty gets a lot of criticism for its inactive heroine, but when I watch it, to me the heroine, the protagonist of the story, isn't Princess Aurora. It's not Prince Philip. When I watch it, the way it's presented to me, it's the fairies who are the heroes. And they're the ones whose story we follow more closely. Since the beginning, they have the most influence, they have the greatest amount of personality, they're individual, they're good, they take it upon themselves to raise a child, pretty much abandoning maybe everything they knew, not using their magic when she's around, keeping a huge secret from her, from Aurora, which makes them pretty strong and amazing women in my eyes. Everything they do, they try to do for her. They try to do what they feel is right, even if it means breaking her heart. But a lot of people tend to forget this because, they're not fairies. They're not traditionally beautiful. They're short and stocky and kind of chubby and kind of old. And most likely, when this film was made, their intention wasn't to make them protagonists. But that's how it wound up. Those three became my favorite characters in the movie. I think they have much more interesting personalities and characters than almost everyone else in the movie, save for Maleficent. But this isn't to say that Aurora is a bad character, because I don't think she is. Granted, she's not given too much of a personality, but from what we do see, I think she isn't that bad of a role model. She's sweet, she's innocent, she cries. This is all normal stuff. This is all something young girls can relate to. And yes, she spends the final half of the movie asleep. Yes, her romance is kind of squished in there. But for the time, they didn't really have the option to develop a romance. They didn't have the time, the money. So I think a little forgiveness can go there. But like I said, I think it's okay because they're not the protagonists to me. It's the fairies, and they don't get a love interest. Their biggest reward is just seeing their loved ones happy, and they could not ask for anything else. As long as Aurora is happy, as long as the kingdom is at peace, that's what makes them happy. And in the end, they're not even that satisfied because they keep changing the color of her dress, which is hilarious to me. And really human. Because people fight. People don't get along with the ones they cherish most. And it'll always be that way, even if they do love each other. So it's this human, realistic aspect that really draws the fairies to me. And to be honest, I think they're some of the most important characters in the Disney franchise, even if Disney itself, however you say it, doesn't realize that. The whole concept of fairies is so interesting to me in that movie because you have these three good fairies, and what a lot of people tend to forget is Maleficent is a fairy. When most people think of fairies, they think of small creatures with little wings, and they're pretty and they're fun. But if you remember the story and you listen, Maleficent is an evil fairy, and not all fairies are these small, cute things. She was tall and demanding and kind of crazy, if you ask me, considering her reasoning behind the plot. Honestly, she probably just did it out of spite. Honestly, she probably just did just be mean, which is an interesting character, really. And she isn't really against the kingdom. She's more of an enemy to the fairies, the good fairies. To me, the whole battle isn't against her and Philip. It's against her and the good fairies, because Philip wasn't able to win the battle by himself. He needed the help of the fairies and their magic. Even though he stabbed the dragon, it was with the help of the fairies' magic. They are the ultimate heroes. They don't get the praise for it, but they're okay with it, as long as Aurora is alive and happy with the one she loves. They are wonderful mother figures, sister figures, aunt figures. They're wonderful figures in of themselves. They are selfless while also greedy. They are silly while also wise. They are ultimately humans with magic. And we could use more of these kinds of women as protagonists and not just as sidekicks, because they can do so much for us. And I think even in the real world, I mean, we need more women like them. We need to appreciate them more.